Hey guys, it's Derek the Dragon from RDA. Got another review today, and this one is of one of the most anticipated guns of the year, and I'm not saying that lightly. Inside of this box is the G&G F2000 with the top optic. Now I need to say immediately, it's a limited edition. This one's already sold. I don't have another one with the top optic. However, what I haven't been telling people is that I do have another F2000. It just doesn't have an optic. It just has the top rail. So, with that said, let's get into this box. In the box, you'll get your standard instruction manual. This is actually a pretty nice instruction manual. It is very thick. It tells you everything you need to know. There's no Chinglish in here. And has big diagrams and cool pictures for you to look at. But it is overall very nice instruction manual. The gun will come with a orange flash hider on the actual gun itself, but the threading is a 14mm negative counterclockwise flash hider that'll fit pretty much anything. And it also comes with a black flash hider that is the F2000 designed flash hider and not an M4 flash hider, which thumbs up the G&G for doing that. And here you go. Here's what the gun looks like. And here is the gun. Also in the box, you'll get a 450 round high capacity magazine that says 5.56 by 45mm, which is the rear round. And then the gun, which I am a big F2000 fan. I personally myself own an FS2000, which is the civilian model of the FN F2000, which is the military model. And I have to say, I was very impressed. I had a little bit of a nerdgasm when I picked this thing up because it is so close to the real thing. It's 1-to-1 scale. The external quality, and I'm not going to say the external quality matches up directly with the actual F2000. It doesn't, and no real airsoft gun really does. But the quality is much higher than most airsoft guns. The polymer is very, very thick and very nice quality plastic. Everything on it is just like the actual F2000, which is something that I like to see out of a company like G&G. And they've always kind of liked doing the, be a little bit more realistic, take apart like the real thing, stuff like that. So, again, I have to thumbs up G&G for doing that. Since there's a lot to cover on this gun, let's go ahead and start with the stock. The stock has a rubber piece on the back. This is where the battery is housed. You pull this rubber piece off, and this is actually held on there really nicely, so don't be worried about losing this one out on the field. This isn't like the JLS where it might fall off or it could fall off if you bump it hard enough. This is firmly attached. There is no other way to take this off than to pry it off like that. This is where the battery goes, and inside here you can also see the quick spring release and the actual piece to tighten the spring or loosen the spring. This will make you change the feet per second. It can be changed anywhere from 350 feet per second to 430 with the spring installed. However, you can lower the spring easily by completely unscrewing that and taking the spring out, putting in any other AEG spring you wish. This gun can take a 9.6 volt battery, a full size, easily in the stock. Trying to do this while looking at the camera is not easy. So you can see it slides right in. Plenty of space left over. Kind of tuck your wires there. This is a lot easier when you're not looking at the back of the gun. And then this piece, which is almost kind of hard to put back on the gun because of how tightly it needs to be actually placed onto the gun, because it really does clamp onto the back of this gun, and it is there. I mean, it's not coming off. And there we go. It's back on. And that's really simple. Also, with that piece there, if you unscrew the back plastic piece, you can just pull the gearbox right out of the back and do anything you wish to that. Not that you really need to anytime soon. The gun shoots at about average, not doing anything to the spring, about 350 feet per second, and about 1,000 to 1,100 rounds a minute with a 9.6 volt. That's actually really, really nice. The rounds per minute didn't seem to drop too much when I raised the velocity or tightened the spring. Right now I have it at what you'll be getting at stock, which is 375 feet per second. And let me just go ahead and show you the rate of fire. Now, a few things about that. One, that's a very nice rate of fire for just a 9.6 volt. It's not anything way out of the normal, but 1,000 rounds a minute is very respectable and is more than your standard G&G motor would do. The next thing is that the trigger is a little bit different. It does have a selector switch like the P90, where you can push it right here. 1 over is semi-automatic, where it kind of locks the trigger halfway. If you flip it over again, it's on full auto, and the trigger works like an AUG. I'll hold this left-handed to show you. Trigger works like an AUG. You pull it a little bit, semi-automatic. Pull it more, full auto. Now, something about this is not like the JLS, where the trigger is very, very hard to pull. This trigger on this gun is actually a very, very nice, very easy trigger pull, but not too easy, so it won't just randomly go off. The JLS would make your finger very, very tired, and that's why in videos you'll see people shooting it with their middle finger, kind of holding it like that. That's because the trigger pull is a little ridiculous on the JLS. The gun worked, but it's just nowhere near the quality of this one, obviously. But yeah, the trigger on this one is not that hard. The fact that it goes to semi then full doesn't bug me too much because the trigger pull is very, very easy, and it's hard to get caught up on semi-automatic when you want to go full auto, especially when you're in a especially when you're in combat and you see someone and you get a little frantic. Now, I mentioned the feet per second being around 375 feet per second. The gun is really accurate as well. You can hit targets up to 150 feet very, very easily. It's pretty much has the accuracy of an L96. It drills into their targets. I would recommend using something like .28 for this gun. That works about great from what I've seen in the accuracy test. If you don't believe me about the accuracy, go ahead and check in the related videos over that way or that way. I can't remember which way it is from where I am speaking. But it's over there, and I was shooting a target 150 feet, about 4 inches wide, over and over, so very, very accurate gun. While we're on the topic of accuracy, let me show you where the hop-up unit is. It's the easiest hop-up unit to access. You flip this hatch up right here, and there's your standard wheelbase hop-up unit. It does a very good job, like I mentioned, very accurate gun. Then when you're done adjusting it, just go ahead and flip that right down. And that's how easy it is to adjust the hop-up unit. The gun itself is just as easy to take apart. There's a button right here you push. It's easier to push this if you push back on the upper receiver. Push this button in. Now, it won't come out of the other side. It will sit there like this, which is convenient. Slide it right off the front of the gun. It'll slide all the way off the rails. And you got your upper receiver and lower receiver. You can also, and I might as well while I'm here, show you what this gun looks like without the optic on it. Now, this is what it would look like if you took the optic off. I won't bother putting the barrel back in because I won't need it. Not right now anyway. But this is what it would look like. Looks pretty nice. Doesn't look too bad. Without the top optic on there, you get standard flip-up sights and the whole RS rail. Now, this RS rail and the flip-up sights are included with the top optic as well, obviously. But this is just what's under the top optic. So, full rail, flip-up sights, and they're pretty standard. The gun still doesn't look too bad without the top optic, but obviously, well, not obviously, just in my opinion, I think it looks better with the optic on. More things to point out for the realism that I haven't pointed out yet. The front charging handle is like the real one. It's just a giant beefy piece here. You pull back and you can lock it upward like an MP5, and this is how the real one works, obviously. Magazine ejection with the big button right there, which is how the real one works. And you can slap this gun down all you want. This isn't going to break. Also up in the front of the gun is a fake gas block, which does rotate. It doesn't do anything, but that's what it is on the real one. So it's there, and that's kind of cool. Now let me go ahead and put the top optic back on there, because again, in my opinion, I think it looks better with the optic. The gun is 100% ambidextrous, 100% lefty friendly, 100% righty friendly. The sling mount in front swivels from side to side, and it has sling mounts on both sides of the back. There's also the same exact thing on this side. The real one, the way they make this ambidextrous friendly on the real one, it's pretty interesting. Obviously, this is bullpup since the magazine is in back. The cycling is happening right here, and it actually pushes the casings all the way forward and out of the front ejection port right here, which there is a hole like on the real one. Now, why does it work this way? It works this way because it makes it a lot more dust friendly. It makes it a very, very effective gun in a dust-filled environment. The only way for dust to get in and out of the gun is either through the magazine or the mag well, or through the actual, this hole going all the way back through here and into the chamber itself, which really is hard to manage to do. This also has the dust cover like the real one here, which will flip out and down. If you leave that open, or you leave that closed when you shoot it on the real one, it'll just pop right open, and the casings literally just drop right out of the front right there. So again, more points to G&G for realism with this gun. The gun doesn't have many trademarks on it. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and show you the trademarks anyway though. Here's the trades on the G&G. It says G&G F2000, which is the name they're using. Airsoft gun, caliber 6mm, and then G&G made in Taiwan right below that. You also have a serial number right here on the actual receiver. While I'm here, I'll show you the selector switch, which I didn't show you before. Well, at least I did, but you couldn't really see it too well. So you can see it as an S, 1, and then A. A obviously for automatic, 1 for semi-automatic, and then S for safety. I'll also show you the sights of the gun. Now that you're zoomed in, as you can see, the top pistol sights, which are if, just in case, somebody would end up getting too close to you for you to use the optic. So pistol sights on top, much like the AUG, which is convenient. And then you got the actual scope, which is a really, really nice optic. Now that I'm zoomed in, I'll also show you the gearbox. As you can see, it looks very, very similar to a version 6 gearbox. Now the reason being is that it basically is a version 6 gearbox, so they've just modified to have a quick spring release and a tightening and loosening spring system, if you will. And the only other real difference is that they moved the trigger contacts to over here. So the trigger arm goes around the gearbox to over here. These push together, makes the gun fire when the trigger arm pushes them. Fuse is also right there, which is in the back of the gun. And then the Tommy connector, and while we're zoomed in, as you can see, the wiring is a little different than your standard G&G wiring. It's a lot higher quality because G&G's wiring is usually a little lackluster sometimes. But these are actually really nice wires, and I can't see these burning out on you. As for the gearbox, it's almost 100% Tokyo Marui compatible. So you can do a lot of things, like a lot of high-speed setup. Overall, it's a very, very nice gearbox. Alright, zoomed out, showing you the scope now. It's a very, very nice scope. There you go. It's obviously not that big when you have your eye right to it, but that's really hard to do with the camera. Alright, now I've more than covered this gun. I covered it a little bit too thoroughly, but I do like the F2000, so I apologize for the lengthiness of this video. And again, if you guys want to buy the version without the top optic, there's a link down below in the video information, or you can just go to reddragonairsoft.net to go buy that. There's also a link in the video information to RDA's forum where you can talk to the community. So with that said, that has been Red Dragon Airsoft's review of the G&G F2000.